Tom here from TechNexus, and thanks for joining me on this week's video. Now, if you've been following this little sort of series on advanced steel, I've got this sort of skid kind of set up here, and we've got this little I don't know, sort of platform down this northern end that is going to be for access to either a manway davit or valves or whatever it might be. So let's say, for argument's sake, that the client wants this, or someone needs this to be sort of a little welded frame. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld the outside, and then I'm going to bolt the inside. So very similar to sort of what we did up the top here. So what I'm going to do first is have a look at, we've got these columns here. So there's 4 PFCs. So we can do the split command for those. So I can pick, when you go to the split command, it's next to the rolled eye section. It's called split beams. And I pick the vertical, and then ask me for the split point. And I'm going to say, give it a snap of near. Okay, I just want to snap to the near side of the end of that horizontal PFC. And now you see that split point has now split the column in 2. So I'll do the same for the other sides. You could also do, let's say, end. So as long as you snap to something, that'll define the sort of cutting point. We can snap it at any point. Okay, so that's that one. And then back around this other corner. Pick the column, pick the end of the snap, and then there it is. So we'll just grab that. Okay, so that one's done. So we've got a couple options here. Is with this corner here, we can miter it. Okay, so let's just isolate these just to get a better idea on it. So just looking at it from a welding perspective. So they're going to weld sort of around here, and then they're going to have sort of this other mitered weld here that overlaps in there somehow. Whether that works or not, that'll be up to you, or up to someone to tell you. The other thing you could do is, let's just isolate this out. So we want to keep the long channel as the one we want to keep. We don't want to trim it. So there is one here, element contour, so cutting it to the contour. So it says, please identify the object which is to be modified. So it's the short one. And then it says, please identify the object to cut to. Okay, so then if we just isolate that again, you can see that it's trimmed itself around the profile of the other PFC. Okay, so we can do that for all of them if you really wanted to. So what I might do, just for argument's sake, is keep one side mitered and the other side trimmed. Okay, so there we go. What you will also need to do with the miter, there is a create weld button. Okay, so the weld is included there, but for these other ones, or one where we cut to the profile, we'll need to add a weld. So I can weld these two together. Okay, and then do the same for the other corner. Okay, and then for whatever reason, again, just for the sake of this video, we're going to have a play with some more connections. So let's have a look at column to beam, beam to beam, and platform beams. Let's throw in some clip angles. So the selection order is the main beam. You press enter, and then the connecting beam. Okay, so there you go. Okay, and then let's do again on this side. Alright, actually, let's get rid of that, and let's do the little trick that we did last week. go through and look for creating joint in a joint group multiples. So I want to copy this joint to this beam and connect the two shorter beams. And then there we go. So they're all done. Okay. So now let's go through and check. So you can see that all of these are welded together. Okay. If obviously once you're working on it, you can go through and weld the column and these two PFCs together, and then you can maybe weld or put base plates on that sort of thing on the columns to the main part of the skid. What I'll also do is, as well, while we're here, is I'm just going to isolate this again, and let's throw some handrails on it. So let's have a go at monowheels. So I'm going to pick the three sides I want the monowheels to be on. And the start is the end of that beam and the end of that beam. And there you go. So it looks like we're just going to have to tweak some of these settings a little bit. So what we do under the monowheel is we go down to segments. And this is each of the three. So I've got three segments here. So this is each of these sort of three sides. So 1, 2, and then 3. So the first side, the post side, is on the right. So if I change it to left, it'll line it up. And then same thing for this back side, this short one, change it to left. Okay. You might have to play around with some of the settings to maybe make sure that the boltings are all right. If I change that to center, you'll just see what it does. So see how it puts it straight on that system line? Okay. So we want it to be just on that inside. Alright, and there you go. Now, why not, while we're here, is do the grating. So I'm going to do under objects, I've got all of these grating options. So standard grating is just a panel. Bar grating. So you've got, it's a different hatch and then different sort of grating series. Just going to delete these. Variable grating rectangular, so I can put it in as sort of a bigger area that I want. So that's the one I want. Okay. Excuse me. I'm just going to move my UCS up to this level here. And I'm going to do variable grating from corner to corner. Okay. And then there it is. Now, we're going to play around with some of these other feature tools in here now. So we're going to notch out where the base plates are. So I'm going to switch to 2D wireframe so I can see the base plate. So there's the yellow base plate there, and then there's the hatch for the grating there. But I want to cut out this area for the base plate. So I come over to the features and I look for this one here that says rectangular contour 2 points on the UCS. So that's also why I moved the UCS up. So I've picked that button and I want to trim the grating, and then I want to define the two corner diagonal sort of points of that plate. So one corner and then the other diagonal corner. And then you'll see, if I switch back to conceptual, that it's cut it out. But we obviously don't want it to be right hard up against that plate. So if you switch back to wireframe, or if you can see it in conceptual, there's a green sort of, that's that feature line that defines the notch or the hole, that rectangular contour. So I can also give it a little bit of a width, sort of like an offset. So I've put in an inch there, or 25mm, and you can see that that contour now has an extra 25mm sort of cut out around it. And now whoever does the grading now has the exact sort of cutout for that profile. So I'll do the same for the other sides. So grating, corner 1, corner 2, positioning, contour is already there. So it's remembered it from last time. Take note of that. There'll be some commands, there'll be some commands where it does remember, some where it doesn't. So next one. And then if I zoom in, just so I can see it. Okay, and then last one over here. And if I switch back to conceptual, then there you have it. Okay. Monowheels placed, grating all done. There you go. So what I might do is go back to end object isolation. So you can see, if I just reset the UCS, just UCS enter. You can see how quickly it is to start sort of detailing up all of these bits and pieces. Now, I'm not saying every job is going to be exactly the same like that. They're all going to have their idiosyncrasies. They're all going to be a little bit different somehow. But from a basic sort of learning perspective, if you do sort of a basic job and sort of get all this done, you can see how quickly it is. And then you'll even see how much quicker it is to start getting documentation and bill of materials and all of that sort of stuff out of these models. So hopefully this has been informative for you. If you're playing around with Advanced Steel, good on you. Keep going, keep playing with it. I always encourage students, if they are going to be using the software, if they take one of my classes, then to keep using the software afterwards, because I just don't see any point in learning it and then not touching it for a month or two, and then you just completely forget it. So it's like anything, the more you do it, the more you'll get into it, the more you'll know, and the better you'll be. So as usual, thanks for watching. Hope it's been informative for you. Thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, but please do subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week for a little bit more advanced steel. We might do some plates, we might do a bit more welding, and we'll sort of slowly start getting into documentation and bill of materials and everything else. But as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. See you later.